It's not often you'll ever hear me doing a rant video, but the last hour or so has been an interesting one, so I figured I'd share it with you all. Here we are on Zodiac Duelist. I've been in and out of this group quite a few times myself over the past couple of months. There's a lot of idiots here, but I end up coming back. There's always something worthwhile. I'll give it that. And as of late, the group's been getting a lot better. I'll take the time here for a moment. This little thing my mouse is hovering over, the admin chat, something that we've put together. We have admins across 8 separate major Yu-Gi-Oh groups on Facebook. We're promoting all of this trade protection. We're trying to put together trusted traders for scammers lists. Trying to work as a whole for the betterment of the community. Now, earlier this week, I had sent a message out to Christopher Jerez here, trying to get him to be a part of it. We already have a couple members of the Zodiac admin squad as in our admin chat as is. He never responded to it. He never joined it. And eventually, here earlier today, he comes up with this tournament, which is the source of this rant video. Zodiac Duelist Tournament 1. So I see this post and I'm thinking, cool, there's another page that's going to start attempting to host tournaments. You guys know me. I run Yu-Gi-Oh! Network. We've had 18 events there over the past, well, at this point, 18 months. It's been a slow last 2 months or so as far as tournament goes. I helped Chris Perovic out when he was starting Overdose. I helped him run a lot of the Overdose tournaments. I helped him run the Overdose website on and off when I had the chance. We can pretty much say that I'm probably the most well-versed as far as running and hosting tournaments. I've been doing it for the longest, and I have more events under my belt than anyone else. But seeing other groups do it, I like that. So I start reading him and another guy. They're going to be hosting this tournament next Sunday, and essentially the prizes are Dracosac, Safe Zone, and Trigodia for first, second, and third place respectively. But what caught my attention is they're asking $10 PayPal entry fee. They're looking for 32 entrants, 40-minute rounds, cut the top 8, etc. But okay, 32 entrants at $10 a piece is $320. Dracosac, 115, 120, Safe Zone, 20, Trag, what is Ultra Trag, 10. You know, we got 150, 160 probably at the top end worth of prize support for $320 worth of entry fees. So, okay, he's pulling in 200% of what's going out. Where the hell is that going? I mean, this just sounds like a fucking way to line somebody's pockets. One counter-argument made at one point was, you know, locals and tournament stores, they make profits off every tournament and shit too. Sure, okay, that's the nature of a business. This isn't a business. There isn't brick and mortar here that has to be paid for. There aren't bills being paid for. There's not, you know, any of that thing that requires overhead. This requires a guy sitting on his ass on his couch for a couple of hours over the course of a day to run a tournament that he wants to do. I've been doing this shit for a year and a half. I know what it takes, and I do it all for free. Matter of fact, I have up right now the first ever potential paid tournament, box tournament. I had over 30, I think I had 34 people say that they would participate. When push comes to shove, people aren't wanting to sign up as much. If it cancels, like, oh well, I'll refund the people that have entered already, and we'll go back to our standard free tournaments. But the way my tournament's set up, there's no profit in it for me. Everything goes into price support, and it goes back out to my players. But here we're looking at 200% of his prize support is what's having to be paid. So essentially, he's taken back 150, 160 bucks or more. Now you'll notice there's 2 likes and 4 comments here. This was over 100, 150 comments, something like that, as recent as a half hour ago. Now what happened was somebody pointed out the fact that the entry fee and what they're trying to pull in versus what's going out is absolutely absurd. Now, there's only here to a comment somebody screenshotted I'll go to, where Robbie Cole, and Cole 40, who pretty much runs Zodiac, stepped in on Chris's behalf. Now, before I get over to this, I'm going to pull over a screenshot to a comment that I had made in here that, of course, as you can see, has all been deleted since, that I sort of ripped back at Robbie, and he and I went to private messages, which is what I have tabbed up at the top of my screen here, that I'll get to in a moment also. But essentially, some people started really attacking this tournament. They started attacking Chris. They started going apeshit about it, and it pretty much pissed off Robbie. And Robbie says he's not in the mood to sit here and let people belittle the tournament. He went through a process to set it up so people can have fun, possibly win a Drago. Some people don't have locals, blah, 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 blah. Point is, bitch, we'll remove it. We'll remove you from the group. We want a safe environment. We have a fun environment. We don't want, quote-unquote here, greedy little fucks that whine and bitch when they don't get their way. Now, there's a lot of good about what Robbie's saying here. I disagree with him in the fact that he is defending this tournament. He and I discussed that quite a bit as well. But he makes good points. They want a safe and fun community here, and the fights that were breaking out over the tournament were quite a bit excessive. Now, what I said, let me pull up here, because, like I said, it's been deleted here. You can see here at the top of this, Chris was talking back to somebody about expressing the entire cost. He claimed at one point that he had hired 2 or 3 people to be staff to help him with the event and whatnot. So I came in and said, Chris, running these, there isn't really a cost. I said I've hosted 18 tournaments. That's for Yu-Gi-Oh! I've hosted more for Kaijudo as well. But I have the longest running and consistent tournament page on Facebook. I help Paravic found and run Overdose. You're asking $320 in fees for $160 in price support. It's horse shit. I said, now, Robbie, quote-unquote, have fun and don't be greedy little fucks that whine and bitch when they don't get their way. I have to point out that taking 200% for an event is being a greedy little fuck. And the fact that people have, I said called you out, this wasn't necessarily directed at Robbie, it was directed to the post and the tournament as a whole. But when people are calling out the fact that this tournament's being a greedy little fuck, you responded with this other screenshot here, which is essentially making you the whiny bitch. Said I've been in and out of this group in the past due to idiots, but this one ices the cake. Now there's a screenshot I'm missing here. It was from Robbie back to me. Robbie simply said, Jeremy, I've known you for a while. He's like, generally I respect you. We share a lot of the same opinions about a lot of stuff. He's like, but that post is quite a bit of faggotry. And I quote faggotry there. He got a little pissed at me. He understood where I was coming from, but disliked the way that the whole thing was going. And he essentially said, why bitch about it out here in the open? Why bitch directly at people? Why go out of your way to, I believe the words he used was attempt to ruin reputations? He said, take it to private message. So that's what I did, and that's what we're going to go to here next, between Robbie and myself. And I said, hey, the feeling's mutual. He and I, we share some respect for one another. I said, but you can't deny that your previous comment was extremely hypocritical. You're wanting people, you're telling people to not be greedy fucks and to not be whiny bitches, but the tournament itself is taking in 200%, which is greedy as fuck. And when people are pointing that out, you're being a whiny bitch to them. And he said, look, talk to CJ. I'm not handling it. It's not my tourney. And I said, look, it wasn't supposed to be attack on reputations or be faggotry. It's just blunt truth. And I'm not gonna read all of this. If there's something that I skim here, I might paraphrase it. You can pause and read at your leisure. I mentioned the fact that we put together the admin conglomerate. He had been invited. He never denied it, but he didn't accept it either. And our whole purpose there is to promote community. Work together to establish trusted traders versus scammers lists. We have admins from Zodiac already in the group. Chris, like I've mentioned, ignored it, but then he started this tournament for his personal gain. Now, one comment that Robbie had made and all the posts that have been deleted was that people didn't have to join if they didn't want to, which is completely true. I said, but if there are any idiots that do join this tournament, paying into it is really just playing into this, essentially what I'm alluding to is a scam on Chris's part, to do this simply to make himself profit. He goes, look, we're just going to handle things on our own. I'm sorry that you're disappointed about it, but this is what it is. And I told him, look, I can't drag you into it. I said the reason the group was formed was to get rid of scammers. Being a part of this inner working of the Yu-Gi-Oh community is supposed to be a really good thing for all of us. And I would like to have Robbie in the group and his opinions. Currently, we have this system of posting pictures with name and date tags in them that's being spread across all sorts of groups on Facebook. Zodiac's been doing it. Chris has actually been doing a really good job at it. So Zodiac's sort of already running into this rule and this idea that our conglomerate is doing. I said they would talk about doing their own way, but you're already doing it. But anyways, this convo wasn't to talk about the conglomerate. Do what you will, but I can't see how in good conscience you can allow your admin to use your page to line his pockets, even if it is with fool's money. Robbie just says thanks, and that was the end of his and I's conversation. At this point, Chris messages me. We'll scroll back up here. You can see where I had talked to him on Monday, asked him to come join us, at which point he never responded until today, Wednesday morning. He was like, so, you have a problem with me? Conversing with Robbie behind my back, which again, Robbie asked me to PM him, so that's exactly what I did. He's like, I suggest you take it up myself. Now, at this point, I started responding back to him. I was coming back with one gigantic post. However, in the time that it was taking me to type it all, he continued to write to me. I've spent time and effort thwarting legitimate scammers, getting people their money back when they have no idea how to, which he has done. He's been very good at that. I help direct trades to people that are trusted. I help people get away from potential situations that would be terrible decisions, which he does. He's very good at it. He's like, I offer one tournament to provide full effort and make $50, and you question my ethics. Now, assuming he's saying make $50 here, because if he hired 2 other people, split the extra $150 worth of entry fees between the 3 of them, they make $50 a piece. He goes, yet you question my ethics. I hope this anger isn't being directed. I didn't join the admin chat because I chose to operate independently. And I can link to, right here, to several people that will have my back in this situation and would destroy you for calling me greedy. Okay, then. He's like, I even offer free tournaments on the weekends to help people promote themselves for free. I spend 4 hours on my weekends to do that as well. Here I'm going to take the point to say, for those of you that know me through Yu-Gi-Oh! Network and the page that I run, I'm online with you guys pretty much all day, every day, at every point, at every post, at every turn. I don't sleep. I'm pretty much behind a computer or on mobile while I'm at work, while I'm doing whatever. Always coming back to the community because it's something I enjoy to do. It's something I care about. It's a hobby, but it's more than that to me. He thinks this 4 hours of his is so much, and to him, it may be, and compared to many other people, it is. But again, to me, this is nothing to brag about. He's like, but you want to stand there and point your finger at me. You don't even know who I am, and you think you can label me. At this point, I stopped what I was writing. I copied it over to a text pad, and I decided to address some of those points real quick. Now, he says he will destroy me? He didn't know who the fuck I am. So I told him he needs to watch what the fuck he's doing there. I could have gone into a lot more detail, but at that point I chose not to. It was touched on in the stuff that I had copy-pasted off to the side. Again, he's trying to play all Mr. Big and badass here. You don't scare me, no one does. I said, as for labeling, I had you as one of the good guys. And if you've listened to my rant for the last however long this video's been recording, once we got to this section about some of the stuff he does, I've found him to be a very good admin for the group. I said, I had you labeled as one of the good guys. And you've been running the system that our conglomerate already does. I explain a little bit about the group to him. I tell him we've got, 8 different major groups. And while you didn't join the page, you're doing what we do already. Again, he's continuing to ignore what's being said. And I'm actually, at this point, praising some of the stuff he's done. And saying that I'm attacking, He says that me and apparently the other people that were in the post that called him out for what was going on here were attacking his character when we were the ones out of line. But again, he's not on the same page I am at the moment. I keep telling him, you're good at it. I was impressed with it. But then you pull this stunt for profit. Now, I get back to where he said I was talking behind his back to Robbie. I said, Robbie asked me to talk with him myself, so I did. He and I discussed it in length. For the most part, he's personally attempting to stay out of it. Which, as I've shown you in that other chat, he is. He's saying, look, take it up with CJ. This isn't my tournament. Yada, yada. I said I friended you earlier this week to approach you about the conglomerate. But yada yada yada. I have a huge problem with it. You're charging to pull 200% of your prize support under the guise of paying hired event for the staff. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I have no way of truly knowing. Excuse me. But what I do know by all accounts, is that these tournaments can be run from my couch while I have kids screaming and running around for free. I know this because I do it. I've been doing it for over a year and a half. I have over 20 successful events under my leadership. Like I've mentioned before, a couple of those are for a different game, though. And I've helped found and run Overdose with Chris with what spare time I had. Now, not to take that out of context, I was not an integral part of it. When Chris first started Overdose, before he started running tournaments, he was talking about how he wanted to run tournaments. I messaged him with a link to Yu-Gi-Oh! Network in my group with all of the tournament policies and documents that I've come up with how I've ran my events for at that point in time the previous year, so that he could take a look, see the way I ran things, and just get a feel for what I had found to be the best method for hosting tournaments compared to any and everything else that I had ever seen. As far as I've seen among other groups for any game whatsoever, there's on occasion a random tournament per se, but there's never been a consistent series, which is something I accomplished to do. So I shared with Chris the way that I did it, and at that point forward, as the group progressed, Chris came back to me quite a bit. I helped him run 2 or 3 of the paid events that he ran. I did a lot of the data mining for him. As far as the score sheets and stuff he did for the breakouts that he was doing, which were phenomenal. When YCS San Diego was going on, I ran the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Overdose website. That entire coverage page was put together by me. I did all that I could for Overdose. Anyways, I said pushing costs onto the community for self-gain is simply wrong. If your tournament is supposed to say, or if it fills, all power to you. You filled your pocket with fool's money. In the grand scheme of it all, you're using the community and your position in Zodiac as a means of self-profit. In my honest opinion, it's no different than the scammers that plagued your group. And the fact that you have to delete all the comments is further proof of it. Then he says it was the other admins that deleted it because they know I have good intentions. Maybe you do have good intentions. Maybe you guys do all talk on a daily basis. But then they get irritated by the fact that people like you step out of nowhere and judge the character of a person that spends hours helping people on a daily basis. You don't even know the half of, I guess, what I do voluntarily. Well, for those of you that know me, and especially those of you that are on my page, does he know the half of what I do? I mean, come on now. I said, now, if you truly believed what you were doing was fair, you would have defended it there and left it. Instead, you removed it all. You suppressed the people who are in your group because you can't justify it at all. It's fair, we don't need your bullshit, that's my stance. I said it's not fair, and we told you. Your response, you deleted it all. Stand up for yourself. Do it publicly. Had they came back in the thread and said, look, these are what we're charging, this is what we're doing. Yes, we're trying to make some money. At least they would have been being straight up honest that way. Instead, he put it off as, I'm trying to pay for my own price support that I'm taking out of my collection to use, and trying to pay for the time of myself and whoever else I have running this event. That's, personally, coming from the tournaments that I've ran, I do it out of love for the game, I do it out of love for the community, I do it out of love for the people on my page that want something to do, that want to have our own online locals so that we can always play and have fun formats and do whatever the hell we want to do. It's not for profit. It's for the game. I think going out of your way to do something for profit, especially like this, is absurd. He's like, it wasn't a response, it was everyone else's. And I agree because I stand by my choices. Yet you and 3 other faggots think you know how to do things. Well, first off, I do know how to do things. I've been doing it for longer than he can imagine. I've been doing it for you guys for a very long time. So, again, we're getting to a point now where, up here, he said he would destroy me. Now he's going off calling me a faggot. we're at a point here where this isn't about the issue. It's not about the tournament. It's not about the issue at hand anymore. This is about him attacking me. Now, I deal with people on a daily basis. I do stuff in HR. That's human resources, psychology. I understand the way humans think. I understand how to react to different employees, how to understand situations as they evolve, and see to the fundamental level of things. These are the things that I'm trained in. And one thing, which I made him aware of here, is that when you're in an argument with someone, a discussion of any sort, no matter how heated or whatnot, when you stray from driving your points towards the topic and instead start attacking the other party, you start, I'll destroy you, you're a faggot, these type of things. It's a subconscious defense that you've already lost the argument and you have no way to recover yourself. So if the only thing you take out of this video has nothing to do with this tournament or Yu-Gi-Oh as a whole, just take it as almost a life lesson as far as arguing and understanding conversation with another person. When you're at a point in an argument where the only thing you have left is to start attacking them, you've already lost the argument. Admit it. I said the points are plain and simple. You can't justify your actions. You simply want to use your position in the group to line your pockets. When called out for it, you go defensive and hide, cover your tracks, delete the evidence. And when you're faced with all of it, you start attacking the people who were attacking the issue. And instead of continuing to try and validly prove a point, he just says, this is what I do because I feel like I'm allowed to do it, because it's what I want to do. Fuck you, you're a faggot, I'll destroy you, blah, blah, blah. Me, as well as the other people, were like, look, there are fundamental issues with this tournament. You are charging way too much, and we think it's bullshit. Their response back was to attack us, rather than to fight their side of an issue. He claims he understands psychology and deals with people, and I didn't attack anyone. You attacked me. Where did I attack him? I didn't. I attacked the tournament, and even that wasn't an attack. I made very clear, logic-founded, blunt statements about issues with the way the tournament was set up. I said the person that I called out was Robbie, and that was, on his hypocritical statement. You can go back in this video and look at it again. I think it's very hypocritical that you're whining and bitching about people being greedy when you're defending a greedy-ass tournament, and you're whining and bitching about people that... Whatever, I covered that earlier. So yeah, I called out Robbie, and Robbie called me right back out on it, and he and I went to PM about it. He and I understand one another. He and I are fine. I said, but at that point, you PM'd me. He's trying to go off because I don't even know what the hell he was trying to get at here. I said, but you PM'd me and decided that it was in your best interest to threaten me and then further derail into elementary name-calling. Now, at this point, he just goes completely off the wall. Apparently, he thinks I feel jealous or that I can't handle feeling unsuperior for 1 second of my life. Now he's trying to bring his personal life into it, and, I can copy-paste what Robbie sent you. He's trying to act all big and badass that, he sees what Robbie sent. That's fine. Do it. I'll paste it too. So he copies a part of what I had sent Robbie. Well, how should I respond to that? And I said, you're using your position on the page to make money. He claims he's not greedy. He demands justice. And that my bullshit's not something he needs to care for. I said, well, if it's not something you care for, you've been real quick to fight me about it this whole time. He said the group asked for tournaments, I provided a solution. No, he provided a shitstorm. And then he couldn't handle it, thus deleting everything. Except for the original post. He deleted all the comments out of it, which I showed you guys earlier. I brought the shitstorm. Well, I wish I could go back and show you guys all the comments. Prior to the post of mine that I showed you guys, pretty much it was just one or two people saying, look, you're charging $10 on the entry fee, really should be $5 to actually cover what's going on here. I took it a step further because there was actually somebody, I'm sure some of you may know, Giovanni here, who can go back. Thanks, I couldn't believe what they were trying to argue. No kidding. Giovanni jumped right in. You probably know him if you followed the Overdose tournaments. He won and topped like all of them. People were pissed at the way this tournament was set up. So I called him out for it, yada, yada, yada. And I said, look, if there is anybody on the planet that can step up and say the way this is being ran is bullshit, it's me. Or Chris Perovic. I think Chris told me at one point he made something like 30 cents a player at the end of everything, because of, maybe we had an odd number of players and the way dividing out money evenly for prize support left a little something left over here or there. But he was also trying to pay for the text message service that he did. He hosted a website for us. Chris was superb in the way he did things. This is just bullshit. I scrolled way down there that I didn't mean to. So he says that I brought the shitstorm. Well, yeah, my post was by far the most depthful of all of them up to the point. And I said the community voiced its opinion and you removed it. That's a bad way to lead. He's like, you can't handle the fact that there's a possibility I can organize something that has potential and you feel small. I said, I love it when people organize tournaments. He's like, but I still have more under my belt than anyone in any group. I'm not trying to float my boat here. I'm not trying to pull out the who has the bigger dick contest. It's simply a fact that I know and a lot of people know. Just because he doesn't, I can try and tell him, but he's so far gone defending himself and attacking me at this point, he doesn't care. Which he clearly states, I don't care. Now, at this point, I'm pissed at the guy. And as much as this sounds like an egotistical comment, which I'll admit straight the fuck up here, it is, but it's true. Everything this guy does is bullshit tiny compared to the amount of time and effort that I've spent with my group hosting shit, the time I've spent with my group growing it. I've been an admin of my group since we had about 120 members. I'm currently the lead and essentially only admin. I have one other guy that's on admin status, but he really doesn't do anything. No offense, Bus Fair, but there's nothing you really need to do. You're there if you need to be. You earned your position, so good for you. Shout out to Bus Fair. Anyways, we're going on 700 members now. We've been growing on average 100 members a month the last 2 or 3 months. It's been phenomenal. Our growth is awesome. I'm really proud of my page and what my people are doing for it. I said, but anyways, I'm getting off topic here. This whole argument here, I've been going straight back to the point about the tournament, the problems with the tournament, about the tournament. He keeps attacking me. I said, if you'd focus on the issue, maybe you'll get somewhere. Sorry, I'm yawning. It's fucking 2:30 in the morning. I'm tired. Apparently, he thinks he's still correct, that he's above me, and that I feel belittled. Do I sound belittled to you guys? I sure as hell don't fucking think so. You can't stand that I can do something you can't, and it kills you. How more wrong could any singular comment be? I've been doing it. I do it, and I will keep doing it. More so than he has, can, or ever will. So at this point, I apologize for essentially reading our transcript to you here over YouTube. I'm sure you could read it yourself. But at this point, in my opinion, he's delusional. He has this own sense of security about himself and what he's doing, and has shut everything else out, and it's false as hell, and it's total bullshit, and he just doesn't see it. Believe what you want to. Host tournaments. Good tournaments that are hosted will promote community wherever they're at, even if it's only momentary, and that's great. And that's what I stand for. It's what I try and do. Or he can still host the tournament he's trying to, and it'll probably fail. You can have your opinion, I'll have mine. I have more desire and determination than some punk like you will ever have. Again with the name calling, apparently I'm a punk. You think you can threaten me? No, I did tell him to watch his back in response to his threat to me, but the difference behind that one is the fact that I'm simply telling him, you know, I actually do have the connections. I actually do have the community. I have my page. I have you guys in the network. I love you guys. You know, I have Paravic. Hell, Robbie's defending this guy because he's an admin on his page. Sure. But Robbie's a friend of mine, too. If Robbie wanted to go out and rail me, if Robbie wanted to go out and ban me from his page, he could have done it in a heartbeat. But he didn't. You know, Robbie directly called back out to me when I called him out for his comment on that thread earlier. Again, that's the reply I wish I had the screenshot to. And just said, you know, don't try out and go out and ruin reputations. I think I'm relatively a small figure in the block of things. I do all sorts of stuff. I run a big page, relatively big page, a well-growing page. My YouTube, for some reason, never likes to grow. Thus, sort of why I probably don't keep up with it as much as I should anymore. Even when I tried to be consistent, subscribers just didn't come. I don't know why. I sort of gave up. I think it's bullshit the amount that I've done and don't get credit for, but again, my little rant video. I'll rant about what I want. I wander. You guys can laugh at me, and you've probably exited this video by now. But he's the one that threatened me. But as far as I know, and I know a lot of people and a lot of things, he's the nobody. But he goes, if you can't stand the fact that there's someone that's emerging above you, learn to deal with it. Above me, I really don't think so. I said, but here, if his tournament does succeed, I've already stated, you can line your pockets with fool's money. But as I was typing this is when he sent this above message to me. So I'm like, continuing your attacks, you know, it's sad how far from the truth. And so he's like, you're blinded, you feel your point's valid, and it's not, yada, yada, yada. Consider us enemies with different perspectives. That's a big word right there, declaring enemies. I don't care if you feel my ethics aren't correct. I'm like, good for you. Delusions like that in the real world that you claim to know so well will destroy you. You know, luckily, this is just the internet. We can be whoever the fuck we want to be on the internet. You know, he comes back, I've analyzed your stance and saw nothing valid. Are you trying to use big words now? Are you trying to sound like some sophisticated guy? Like, this didn't even get a response from me. I have no response to this. I'm really at a point where the closest thing to probably an actual attack against Christopher I can make is going to be, is I really just find him pathetic right now. It's sad. I find him pathetic. I find his thought process pathetic. I find the way he defends himself pathetic. I find the way he lashes out and attacks the people that are pointing out his fallacies pathetic. It's bullshit. And anyways, I've probably been ranting for about a half hour now. I believe I started this video not too long after I sent my last message to him. So, anyways, I've done my bitching. You guys can take of it what you will. Watch it if you do. I don't care. Whatever. I needed to rant. This is my rant. Fuck Chris. Peace out.